What's going on, guys? Conservative Video Dipper here, if you got a dip pack lip. Alright, so we're going to talk about why do people that claim they're not liberal or they are liberal and they happen to be YouTubers or content creators, why do they whine so much? And when they're doing content, why is their content so bad? And why does it kind of hurt not only their channel, but also what they're doing, and why does it hurt their political party, and what makes it bad for their political party that so bad that it's going to do damage, and how does it do damage to their political party? So, number one, their political party relies on democracy, virtual signaling, click words, and oppression, focus on multiple things, and taking, and trying to allegedly give, but they're not ever going to give, or do anything, or solve, which that is not their main focus. Their main focus is never to solve, give, or do anything in that main order. Their main focus is to conquer and destroy. That is it. They're going to destroy capitalism. They're going to destroy the Constitution. They want to override the Constitution. They want to get rid of everything we once had. Basically, they want to destroy the patriarchy. And also blame. That is the other thing that I've noticed. One other thing, big thing that they love to do is blame. So who do they blame? First and foremost, the biggest blame goes to, they like to use the words, oh, every single MAGA person thinks it's all about the white Christian nationalist. It's all about make America white again, which is not about any of that at all. If any MAGA supporter out there knows better, they know it's not about white America. It's not about white privilege or toxic masculinity. It's none of that bullshit. And we know better. We know how to counteract it. We know what we're facing against, and we know why they're saying that shit. Cheers, by the way, folks, for all you out there. And they want to counter argue it by saying that MAGA only has a few things of the agenda that they love. First of all, they love to blame the black and brown people, which never is the truth. We never do. The only thing that we will blame is when the blame comes to the people that the blame has to go to. If something happens and it is part of that community, it will be talked about. It will be part of that discussion. We will have that discussion. A lot of conservative Republican news will open that discussion because that is part of the issue. And they're going to capitalize off of it by trying to push it away and say, oh, it's the MAGAs that are trying to either blame the white, or not the white, the black, the brown, the Hispanics, the illegals, and it's just the white toxic masculine fake Christians, the nationalists. It's, just this, that, and the other. It's bullshit. That's what they're doing. This is what these YouTubers out there do. This is what a lot of these liberal medias do. They do this a lot. And I hear it all the time. And I know they do it. Look at MSNBC. Look at CBS. Look at the Young Turks. Look at Midas Touch. Look at Paul Lance. Look at every other YouTuber that's out there that hates MAGA. That's all they really do is blame us because what are they going to do? Who do they really have to blame but themselves? They aren't going to push the blame to themselves or their party. They're going to push the blame away from their party and they're going to point the blame to us directly because we know that we're not guilty of all of this. We know that we're trying to help. We know what we've been trying to do. We know how much we have done for a lot of America and the better of America and what America has gotten better from and what America has not suffered from. But all we hear is white privilege, toxic masculinity. Majority of the school alleged pew pew shootings are from white straight males. But you know what they're forgetting? The account of the fact that majority of the latest pew pewers are from the LGBTQ communities that are not straight, by the way. Majority of them are not straight. They cannot accept facts. They cannot accept the fact that majority of these people that shot up these alleged schools were part of a certain community that were part of that community, and they don't want to accept that fact. Sure, they were white, yes. We can have that discussion, yes. But skin tone doesn't really and should not really be part of this discussion. It's more of the discussion should be that person may have had mental illness, or did that person allegedly have mental illness? Not, oh, let's blame it on the person because that person's white and may have been allegedly part of MAGA. Oh, that person's white, so that definitely involuntarily makes them MAGA. That definitely sets them to being MAGA, straight up, like bam, right there. They're MAGA. That's how they think. That's how these liberal YouTubers are doing this shit. All of them. The Young Turks, the Midas Touch. All of these liberal medias are doing this. This is how every liberal media base is doing this shit. They're shifting the blame slightly, not only towards us, because, well, we're white, but it's because they don't want to take accountability to the fact that there's mental illness not only in a certain demographic of communities and also certain other communities that, 1350, that really they don't want to talk about too, but we aren't going to go into there because, that's not part of the topic right now. But if you want to talk about the white community, they don't focus on certain things that are happening. Like, oh, maybe mental illness or something else. They don't think about anything but, oh, that's just a white person and that person wasn't a alleged pew-pewer. So that's got to be a MAGA. And that's all they go to. That's the fastest instinctual conversation starter that they will shoot to. Is a toxic, masculine, white, privileged person. Because they know no better. That's how desperate they are right now. And they are calling to alleged arms right now with trying to get people to follow their cult. That is how desperate these cult followers are. They are following their own sheeple beliefs to the point now where they are just so desperately grasping at straws, trying to reach for anything that they can potentially get to. Whether it's blaming white people or MAGA, or whether it's the white national Christians on anything, whether it's MAGA hating on black and brown and BIPOC, or people of color, or anyone, they're gonna grasp at these straws. This is how that they are that desperate right now. And these YouTubers and these grifters, I'm gonna call them grifters because they are grifters. They are grifting so desperately, trying to hit points that these liberal medias are just so much just pounding into their brain, just like, you gotta say this, you gotta use these click words, you gotta mention toxic masculinity, white privilege, Black Lives Matter, white Christian nationalists, racist, fascist, alleged adjudicated rapists. You gotta use all these click words, and they're not realizing at the end of the day how many of these cult followers are you really grasping at that are going to start believing you? And how many of them are you losing? Because you're probably going to be starting to lose more and more and more. Because Eric Swallows is not doing anything. He's not going to help anybody. If he even tries to run for president, he's going to lose. Most Democrats, if any Democrat right now in 2028 tries to run, they're going to have a hard time. They are going to have a very hell of a hard time trying to run because the Democrats have screwed themselves. Not only because of what they have done, but because of what they have said and what they are doing continuously and what they are having their little cult followers saying online. And this is what I've been saying for years, people. When people start grasping at straws, desperately trying to prove to other people how allegedly bad we are, and it fails every time. It fails multiply 99.9% of the time because the good people see past the bullshit and they know that's not true. MAGA isn't like that. MAGA doesn't act like that. MAGA never believes in that shit. MAGA never does any of that, and that is not MAGA at all. Guess what? You're gonna see something. You're gonna see them desperately. Sorry, I'm trying to get my battery thing in. Oh, come on, you silly thing. Hold on. I guess we won't have very much long. Oh, there we go. Never mind. Anyway, because a lot of people are going to see past this bullshit. They're going to look at it and say, we already have figured out that the mainstream media has gotten to these people's brains. This is potato mush, spit, rinse, repeat bullshit. This is continuous liberal media industrial complex narrative. This is just what they do. This is what they talk about. Toxic masculinity. It's not okay for men to be men. It's not okay for men to be masculine. It's not okay for men to be the way that they should be. But they want to make an excuse by saying that uh, making up reasonings like, well, most men are alleged, not all men, but the most toxic masculine men are the alleged rapists. That's not true. That's not true. That's not what makes men toxic masculine. It's not what is the problem. But the problem is, yes, that there are rapists out there, but that isn't what makes it toxic masculinity. That just makes it where men are that do those things are pigs, but that's not really toxic masculinity. That's just a man being a pig. But they kind of shield it and use these certain phrases and they coin these phrases and they say these things because they want people to think that in their quick words that when it comes down to it that it's basically the only toxic masculine men are allegedly the rapists and the men that are doing the wrong thing. And the men that are just allegedly the ones that have to have the pew-pews because they allegedly have small penises. And I hear it all the time. And that's not toxic masculinity. You know what that's called? That's called the right to Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, exercising our Second Amendment. That's not toxic masculinity, folks. That's called exercising the Second Amendment, which we have that right to. And a lot of these people think, well, that is actually toxic masculinity. No, it's not. It's not wrong to be masculine. It's not wrong to be able to exercise not only your masculinity, but it is wrong to be a rapist and abuse women and use women in the wrong way and treat women in the wrong way. That is wrong. But what is not wrong is to have your Second Amendment rights and to be masculine. That is not wrong. And they don't understand that. And they're confusing it and they're switching it in the different directions. They're switching the conversations around so that people get so clusterfuck confused that they don't know which way they're going in the conversation and they're thinking that that conversation about what piggish men do are toxic masculine, but they're actually directly talking about men that are masculine and that are doing things like protecting the house, defending with Second Amendment rights. They claim that is toxic, which they don't know what toxic masculinity is. They have no idea what toxic masculinity means. And then they go into the second realm of white privilege, which I hear the word white privilege all the time. And people saying, oh, white privilege is just where like I don't see anything. If it doesn't bug me, you know, I got to use my privilege to help those that are being allegedly abused by cops and other people that are committing crimes and that allegedly are being harassed by cops. Well, the problem is what you're not realizing is, do you realize in a situation that if you see something happening in the street, do you know what really is going on? Because you jump into a situation, you could get arrested too. that could get you definitely arrested and charged with obstruction. So you're going to use your fake white privilege to jump in and say, don't arrest that person because that person is a person of color, and get yourself arrested, which won't even help you, and they may still get arrested no matter what. I guess apparently that's how you allegedly use your fake white privilege. Okay. That's not how it works. That's not how they're, I guess, that's how they allegedly want you to use your white privilege. But what they claim white privilege is that, they want you to acknowledge that you are more privileged as a white person because a black or brown person gets more harassed by cops that are white, which I don't really notice, especially here in Tennessee. I don't notice that happening as much because honestly, cops around here, they don't really fuck with you. As long as you don't do anything stupid, they don't fuck with you. They don't fuck with you. As long as you are not like out pissing in public or doing drugs in public or doing anything illegal or you're too intoxicated in public, they ain't gonna fuck with you. They will leave you alone. But other than that, or if you're not driving drunk or you're just not doing anything illegal, they really don't fuck with you around here. Whether you're black, brown, white, whatever, they don't fuck with you around here. They just leave you alone unless you are doing something. So I guess here in Tennessee, you really don't have to use your white privilege. You just don't do something stupid, right? Oh, but conservative, that's not how allegedly white privilege works. You got to remember, defend those that allegedly get, harassed more by the white cops because you don't get pulled over. You don't have to have that conversation with your children because your kids are white. Uh, that's allegedly how their conversation goes. Is that because I'm white, my kids are white, I don't have to have that conversation with my kids because of alleged prejudice, bias, right? Actually, it does happen. Even it doesn't matter whether I'm white or brown or whatever, it still can happen. A cop can still do anything. And sometimes what happens is if a cop has what's called ticket, a certain like amount of tickets that he or she must give or arrests that they may have to make, they're going to try to fill that quota. And that quota, either way, they're going to try to fill it and make it. So whether you want to argue with them or not, they're going to try to fill it. And they may try to fuck with you in the worst hard way. So it doesn't matter about white privilege. It's not going to mess or help you in any way, shape, or form to protect or use your fake white privilege because it doesn't exist. It doesn't matter whether you, yeah, if something is wrong, yeah, stand up. I mean, if you do see something really truly wrong going on, then yes, say something. But that's not using your white privilege. That's just you standing up for being right and saying, "Hey, you're being in the wrong here. Correct it." You're defending. You're not using your privilege. You're just standing for correction. But no matter what, there is no such thing as white privilege. Nobody benefits because of who they are. I mean, if there was Asian privilege, then there would be such thing. Because you think about it, whites actually don't really get more benefits than anybody else. If you want to look at statistics, Asian people are 10 times more smarter, so they're going to graduate from college. They're going to be able to have a higher degree because they've studied more. That's their just their basic lifestyle. They've in their family, they're more down to studying. They've been taught that that's what they need to do. They need to study and get a job and have that career. So they're a lot more adaptable to being able to get a job faster because they're pretty intelligent. I'm not saying that that's privilege, but they're pretty prevalent to being able to be smarter than whites and other people because they study more. They are more focused and intent into doing things properly than most other cultures. That's not privilege, that's just the culture and how they stand. But the media wants to claim that white people have the higher up hand than other people. That's not true. Whites actually don't have the higher up hand. We don't. And then they use the whole media narrative of it's the white patriarchy, it's the white Christian nationalist, this whole thing of America was founded on racism. No, America was never founded on racism. Um, if you look into the Constitution, and they will use this, and they will try to dispute this every way they can, that the Constitution only benefits the white people. It never actually really benefited just the white people. It benefited we, the people, every American. And they try to twist and turn the language and the narratives. This is another thing that these liberal YouTubers love to do so well is twist narratives and words into the Constitution and take words away and add to the Constitution or say it only benefits these people or certain people because of this narrative, which it never did and it never has because we know better. We know that this is just how they see it because they are brainwashed. This is the cult mechanism. This is the part of their brain that hasn't adapted to being smart enough to think for themselves and outside the box. They're only thinking, I'm about to sneeze. Sorry. Hold on. I am going to sneeze. Excuse me. They only want to think about the fact that white people basically should stand up more and be the white saviors to everyone else, and white people need to be the voice of the reasoning. Why? Why should we be the voice of reasoning when um, we're trying to not just help one specific group? We're trying to help every single group, everyone. This is kind of the clusterfuck confusion that they go with. Is we only want to help one specific group. Um, yeah, that's your narrative, but our narrative is we want to help everyone because everyone should be helped. Every single life should matter. But in their belief, only black lives should matter first before all lives should matter. But they do the takeaway of, well, we're not saying that just black lives matter, but black lives kind of, and then they add the, you know, all lives do matter, but until black lives matter, all lives can't matter. That's how they add that in there. And that's a pretty prejudiced way and racial way of saying, yeah, your life doesn't matter until one life matters more. And that's how they see fit. I'm going to take my dip out. Sorry, I had to take my dip out. They want to use that whole predatory racist narrative that our country was only founded and beaten and allegedly hurting black communities and other communities, and now the black and brown community needs to have repercussions, or not repercussions, but reparation for it, and we need to stand up for it after so many years of our alleged ancestors' wrongdoings, which our ancestors' alleged wrongdoings does not really entitle us to really um, mean to do anything. Because that was a long time ago. We already are trying to correct it from a long time ago. We are already on that path of correction. And they're not seeing that correction is being made. But again, it's that media that not thinking outside the box. They're only thinking of one side. They're only thinking that one coin side of that coin. They only want to coin that phrase and use that click word. We only want one thing to matter the most, and that's trying to put everyone else that is not like us higher than us. Uh, See what they're doing? So they are being racist. So they are using racist narratives. They are using racist tactics. There. They are doing the things that they allegedly claim that we're doing. But we're not. But when they come to, again, back around to the white privilege thing, well, you gotta acknowledge that you do have white privilege and that white people benefit more from uh, the society and capitalism. No, actually, white people don't. White people benefit just as much as everyone else actually does. If you want to look at the honest to God truth, white people, black people, brown people, purple people, we all benefit from capitalism. We all benefit the same way. Oh, yeah, but they hate capitalism too, by the way. That's another thing we'll go into too. They hate capitalism. But the whole white privilege thing kind of is the go around with the BLM thing too. And they don't tell you the sacred click word of, well, the secret is we really kind of don't want to tell you, but your life really it doesn't matter because you're a white person. Yeah, we don't want you. No, they it's basically white person versus white person trying to be the black and brown savior, and it's kind of white on white hate crime. Basically, is what they're playing, not trying to play it as, but they're brushing it off as, not as, but they're pretending it's not, but it technically, in a word, is. It's like I said before, it's white on white hate crime and white on white racism. And they don't know that because they're just, again, ignorant and crazy. And they're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And they aren't ever going to see that. But going back to anti capitalism, they hate capitalism. So that's one of their few other favorite phrases that they love to coin is, we are not capitalistic, but we live in a capitalistic world. Well, if you hate capitalism so much, why are you still here? Down with the patriarchy. Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. Because you have nowhere else to go, dummy. You can't go into any other country and say the shit you say and believe in the same shit you believe in. And you can't really hold a candle to the wind on what you say because you know that if you go into Korea, the Kim Jong Un country of Korea, and say the shit you say, you're not going to last very long. You're probably going to be in prison for life. Or Russia. What's up, Leafy? How you doing, bud? You're gonna be in prison for life if you say the shit you say in Russia or Korea or any other socialist country. So you're not gonna last very long. That's why they don't like it. That's why they would rather sit here in a capitalistic country and continue to complain about capitalism when they hate capitalism and they always yell, down with capitalism. Well, technically, they try to pretend they're not capitalistic, but they kind of are capitalistic. No, I do not work with Russia. You Americans are very weird, Leafy. Very, very weird indeed. Yes, you Americans are very weird. I would have to talk to your comrade Putin about that one. Yes, very weird indeed, American. But anyway, I guess you could say a lot of these alleged YouTube liberals or pretend they're not liberals are champagne socialists. They act and pretend they're not capitalistic, but they kind of are. You can tell that they are. They hold themselves not to be capitalistic, but they can't not live in a capitalistic world because they know no better. Capitalism has been one of their best friends. They know that capitalism um, is something that helps thrive our country, and they can't argue against it. They always say, well, capitalism really has never helped, and some of them make the argument socialism works better. And when you ask them, give me proof of any socialistic country, that includes Russia, um, Italy, even Germany, any country that was under a socialistic regime at any old time in 1940s or later that was in the time of socialism that worked, let me know. And they would try to give you multiple maybe some examples, but it would never work. And you could always rebut it with it never really worked because you can argue with look at how their um, economic system was at that time. Their economic system was a downfall. People were sick and suffering. There was a lot of maybe drought. There was a lot of things that were wrong going on in that time that you can kind of pull up in information wise that would prove them to be not so really good about socialism and anti-capitalistic. And you can show them that here's why capitalism works a little bit more. Capitalism basically is everyone gets a piece of the pie. Socialism, nobody gets the pie. It's only the government gets the pie. Government basically tells you when, where, and what to do and how to do things. Capitalism, you don't get the government. Yeah, the government tells you a little bit, but we control where we spend our money and how we spend our money and what we spend our money on. That's how capitalism works. So we can capitalize, no pun intended, on what we want and when we want to. And they don't understand that. And again, that proves how bad they are at arguing. And this is why a lot of these liberal, fake, champagne socialist YouTubers don't understand when they try to argue with us or they try to sit on YouTube and whine and bawl about us MAGA supporters or Trump supporters or about how, capitalism is bad. They look like a bunch of idiots. They whine like a bunch of idiots and they sound like a bunch of idiots and cult members, and they don't realize that their argument really holds no argument at all because you can disband multiple arguments in one setting and their arguments basically will be just discredited. So a lot of their arguments are based off of not just some of what they read or what they hear, but some of it comes from other YouTubers. So one YouTuber may hear something from another YouTuber and possibly from the mainstream media. This is commonly known as, I would like to consider it the pipeline uh, mainstream media. So what this does typically to them is it goes from point A, point B to point C to them. It really doesn't help them, but what it does for them is it makes them feel all nice and snug and cozy in their little Betty Buys, and they suck their thumbs and they feel so good about it. And they have to give themselves a little pat on the head because, yeah, guess what? That's how they get the mainstream media news to us. Oh, not to us, but to, the other libtards. Because how they do it is dumb enough. They listen to the other news network and they think, oh, maybe somebody didn't pick up on this. So they try to find other information that maybe other YouTubers are not picking up on. And if they think that these other liberal or pretend champagne socialist liberals are not picking up on, they're going to pick up on it, and then they're going to try to quickly go on live, or they're going to try to do a video on it as fast as they can, picking up, and they're going to talk about it. And what's going to happen is then it's going to start becoming mainstream at some point. What that does is it is very dangerous. It's a dangerous habit that they get into because, one, it ruins a lot of problems because sometimes that information gets out way too quickly, and the mainstream media has not had or the ability to confirm or deny that information or the sources being credible or factual enough. So by that time they've picked up on it, it's too little too late. And yeah, the story is kind of a damning story. And then they may have to start doing damage control. And by that time, mainstream media has to find a way to spin the narrative and do whatever they do. It becomes the worst. So sometimes that pipeline mainstream media thing can be really destructive to them. And this is why sometimes it hurts them. It ruins their reputation. It ruins their names. It ruins not only their names, but um, it ruins what they allegedly are hoping to attempt, which is their attempt to try to disrupt conservative news. And they think that, oh, this is going to disrupt conservative news. But already, conservative news has probably already picked up on it, and the mainstream media of conservative news already probably has a bigger story on it. They probably already have the facts. They already have sources that have already probably got majority of reliable, credible sources that can say, well, this, and this, and we can state our sources as being this, and this. So this, and this can source that this, and this actually happened, or this, and this was said, and this kind of downplays the liberal media industrial complex narratives, and it a lot of the YouTubers that try to downplay it will either sound stupid because they don't have their sources correct, which AKA means their ducks aren't lined up together correctly, and they aren't really informative or informed about it at all, and they're misleading and misguiding people. And that's what happens majority of the time when it comes to the liberals. Liberal YouTubers always will misguide people because they only listen to a snippet majority of the time of what will be said, which is fun for us because I like that. Another thing liberal YouTubers love to do a lot of time is they just point blank outrightly state things that are unobvious. They don't listen to anything. They just try they don't they don't listen to the whole thing. They only listen to partly of the thing when they're doing, like, for instance, videos. They'll only play partial clips. I only got a little bit left, so cheers. So when they're doing like YouTube videos, they will only play like small partial clips that are either going to be taken out of context, or they'll say, "See, this is what I told you about Trump," or "See, this is what Trump said." And that's not what Trump said, because what they do is they will only play snippets of what was said, and the majority of the time, liberal YouTubers that like Midas Touch, even ABC, MSNBC, and any liberal YouTuber media will do this. They only play that small clip because they know, for one, that it's going to spin that narrative, and for two, if they take it out of context, it's going to try to make them sound better, and it's going to try to make the other side sound even worse. And a lot of YouTubers that are liberal or champagne socialists do this, and I've watched even with Midas Touch, Young Turks, Paul Lance, Joy Reid, Texas Paul, Tennessee Brando. He's done this. All of the people that I've gone against that are liberal, mainstream liberal medias have all done this. I've seen it. I've called all these people out for this. They play this. They do the same freaking thing all the time. They all do this. They will play small clips because what it does is it makes them try to look credible, and it doesn't. And how they do it is they will say, "Well, let's take a look. You're not Black Leafy." They will take that clip and only play certain segments either from another fake news source or small snippets of the actual direct source or another source that may be conservative, and just small snippets of it. And this is how they do it. Now, the reason why they do it, it's very, very, I guess you could say, very bad. It's pretty cruel. And it's a very unusual tactic. Not an unusual tactic, but it's a technique that they have learned to do because they know better, and they know that when they do it, it works in their own way. Instead of playing the whole thing, they are also trying to not deal with copyright issues, which is a combatant against the copyright alleged copyright issue, which I can also understand that is kind of a ish direct way of combating against a copyright issue, but at the same time, it's kind of a facetious way of going about it by trying to be facetious towards a conservative or towards whatever they're doing. And it makes them be doing this look bad because when they do it, it's them trying to glorify their point. They're trying to not just glorify their point in many ways, but they're trying to prove that they're right, we're wrong, and they're big, we're small. And there's nothing we can really do about it. And that's it. And that's how they do it. And that's why they do it. Because they want to do it that way. That's what they want from us. is they want us to feel small and they want to combat us. So that's why they try to combat us with this. Um, they use click words. Why do they use click words? So click words is a common thing that is a practice amongst liberal YouTubers and mainstream media, and it's a common denomination that is used because it's basically for them like them saying we are acknowledging that you can hear us and understand us and you know what we're saying to you, and we want you to understand and acknowledge and know that you hear us and that you know what we're saying, and we want you to get the point that they're saying these words because this is what they're trying to claim that we are and that we are not. In general, like allegedly calling us a fascist or a smarty, which we are not a fascist or a smarty. And most of the time, when we get called a fascist or a smarty, you ask them, "What is a fascist?" Oh, yeah, what is a fascist? And then you can just instantly do a Google search. What is a fascist? Well, what is a smarty? Somebody like 1940s mustache man. Yeah, good. Exactly. The mustache man. Now, what is the difference between a fascist and is there a difference between a fascist and the mustache man? No. Actually, they're both kind of the same thing if you think about it. The mustache man was a fascist. Now, taking Trump out of the picture, you can't say that Trump was or is a fascist and is using the same tactics that the mustache man was using or is using, because he's not. He has never done that. So they use these words to try to connect with their own people. It's a word that they seem to know so well that the mainstream media has adapted to. They've adapted to using these words more and more and more because that's the only thing that they know how to call us. Because they don't know how to do anything better. They don't know how to do anything differently than use the word fascist or smarty. Well, Trump is an alleged adjudicated rapist. Well, here's the thing. He didn't actually get federally charged. It was a civil case. And even there were so many problematic things with that. Even the jury didn't agree with um, Eugene Carroll. Eugene Carroll was very problematic in that case, by the way. May we add that too. And she said multiple very unorthodox um, things that even during the time with the interview with Anderson Cooper, she said some very unorthodox things that even Anderson Cooper was like, this woman's very uncredible at this point. And Anderson Cooper is very liberal, by the way. He's very, very liberal. He's been working with CNN or worked with CNN a lot, and he was never conservative or down the middle. He was very liberal. So to normally have somebody that allegedly was claiming that Trump allegedly raped her, and then him questioning the woman that is claiming that Trump raped, that shows you a lot. And the fact that it was in a civil case and not a federal case, That tells you a lot too. And the jury, and the fact that the jury didn't even find proof, that there was lack of thereof proof, that there was even any evidence even against the whole thing with Stormy Daniels, Eugene Carroll, all of that was not allegedly federal. That was civil. That was all allegedly civil. All of that was allegedly civil. That wasn't federal. So he wasn't federally charged. He was allegedly civilly charged. But for Eugene Carroll, there was lack of evidence. And the fact that she said allegedly some out of pocket shit that didn't help. So that kind of shows you right there that, you know, it kind of didn't help her. And, you know, they're still sitting out there going, well, he's an alleged adjudicated rapist. No, he's not. He wasn't federally charged. He was having a civil lawsuit, but there was a lot of lack of evidence. So you can go look at the courts. You could go look back at the transcripts. There are probably transcripts that you can probably go look at. I'm sure you can find them of that court case. Well, was he charged? Yeah, civilly. He was civilly charged with a case against Eugene Carroll. But again, that kind of was not really technically much because of what she said. And she allegedly made the claim that it was sexy. No, you didn't get blocked, Leafy. If you got blocked, you wouldn't be able to text, like dude. So Eugene Carroll basically just made some out-of-pocket shit. And he still, you know, they still claim that shit against Trump, which is stupid. Well, what about him allegedly going into the locker room with minors? That never happened. When did Trump ever say that, or when did Trump ever do that? See, when did Trump ever do that, or say that he ever did that? Actually, no. If you were blocked, you wouldn't be able to text, my dude. You wouldn't be able to do shit. You're not blocked. I got you, Leafy. You good, bro. Here, Leafy, hold on. I got you. I got you. There you go, Leafy. You're my mod. Thank you, Leafy. Don't forget to hit the like button, Leafy. I appreciate you, bro. Nobody's going to block you now. So, the whole Trump being alleged rapist and Trump allegedly going into alleged women's locker room, that's all bullshit. That's all just pure alleged BS. We know that. Well, what about when Trump allegedly said, grab him by the PUSSY, by the kitty cat? Meow. If you don't remember, there was a conversation that Trump allegedly was having with somebody, supposedly as, I think, a joke. And it was, I think, in a van that he was having that conversation with in faith, that it was not being recorded. And you can see that the camera people were right beside the van, and the audio could pick up very clearly what was being said. And you can tell Trump was not very serious about majority of what Trump was saying. Trump has a sense of humor, sure, very maybe sick or very different than what everyone else would be, or what, because liberals don't have a sense of humor. That's why they're pissed with him. That's why they're like, oh, He said he would illegally date his daughter. Ew. Yeah, well, Biden allegedly took a shower with his daughter. Which one's worse? Which one's worse? Biden took a shower with his daughter, Ashley. Well, Trump making comments about allegedly dating his daughter is worse. Yeah, no. He's making jokes, or that was probably taken out of context. Biden actually did take a shower with his daughter, Ashley. And that was actually found in a journal by Ashley, Biden's daughter. That was even nasty. She acknowledged that happening. She acknowledged that that happened. She acknowledged that shit happened. Yeah, I know. You, right? That's just nasty. That's just nasty. That just ugh. But you know, the liberals and the YouTube alleged liberals and the people that want to pretend that they're not liberals or Democrats, or they just want to pretend they're not on one side or the other, or they're not even champagne socialists. They just want to ignore that shit. They just want to ignore it. They just want to continue to pound and just go after Trump for everything they can. Because guess what? Biden has metaphorical skeletons in the closet that they don't want to bring up. Yeah. See, this is why these liberal YouTubers really do need to kind of shut up when it comes to talking politics, because they don't know what the hell they're saying. And this is what really will happen, is that they will have people like me coming out swinging, like conservatives swinging for the fences and saying, no, that is not exactly what happened or what was said. Or people like when Charlie was alive, God rest his soul, saying things. And we'll get into how they claim Charlie was a racist podcaster, which he wasn't. But they they don't understand that a lot of conservatives know how to combat what they do, and they are getting combated multiple times. But they think, oh look, yeah, sorry, yeah, we're doing a good job, guys. We're really helping the, we're helping the Democrats. No, you're not. You're you're honestly destroying it. You're destroying your own people. And then I hear this, oh, Charlie Kirk was a racist podcaster, and he didn't care about the black and brown community. He wasn't a racist podcaster. Name one time that Charlie Kirk was racist. He never was. He talked with a lot of people that were of mixed race, white, black, brown. He even talked to black, brown conservatives and liberals. He never treated them any differently. You know what he did? He treated them with respect. He treated them, and and then they also call him a fake Christian, which, by the way, he's not a fake Christian. He's a real Christian, by the way, for all you nincompoop want to be fake libtard champagne social fence sitters out there, YouTubers. that don't understand what Charlie Kirk was. He was a real Christian. He was an actual Christian. He talked about God a lot more than what you guys would talk about. A lot more probably than, actually a hell of a lot more than I would talk about God. He talked about his faith in God more than most conservatives do on YouTube. More. He was open about it every day. Maybe not every day, but he was open about it very openly. He acknowledged that that was his faith. And he wasn't a racist. He wasn't a white nationalist Christian. He was a Christian, an evangelical Christian, if I'm correct. Later, Leafy. I'll message you later. He wasn't a white nationalist Christian, but he was a Christian. But he wasn't racist. But here's what was the saddest part about this is that when it comes down to it, he never really hated anybody. He would talk. In a minute, Leafy. I can't let people up. I don't know how on here. I'm not on the thing to let people up. So you can say it. You can message it on here, Leafy, if you want. But he never really treated anybody differently. Whether you were liberal, whether you were non-politically affiliated, whether you were Republican, he didn't care who you were. He really did not give a shit who you were. Charlie did not care. He literally would rather have a conversation with you and be able to have that conversation with you respectfully. And he would rather you have a good conversation with him and have that open conversation and that open dialogue to where at least, yeah, sure, you could disagree or agree, but it would be one that at least everyone could hear it and understand, okay, here's your point, and then here's his point, and here's why his point is important, and he has his point with facts, and when he talks about his points, he uses facts and logic, and sometimes if it's like about abortion rights and stuff like that, he'll sometimes go biblically, and if somebody's not a Christian, he'll use moral ethics. He'll switch it around a little bit. He'll say, okay, well, if you're not a Christian, then let me just talk to you on a moral level as a human being with compassion. Since you're not a Christian, I'm going to talk to you about the humanity way of it and the humane aspect that you would understand, that you and I could maybe agree or have that discussion and we could find an agreement to. And he would always find that civil discord to be civil. And that was how he worked with people. He was never racist. And people calling him racist use that word towards him because they don't understand. They're very narrow-minded about him. They don't understand that Charlie really never had a racist bone in his body. They never understood Charlie. They never knew Charlie personally. They just want to use the liberal media narrative. They want to call him racist because they don't like him. Because they're mad that Charlie was able to have a civil conversation with liberals that were able to have a conversation with him that mattered. Well, but Charlie only talked to college kids, so their minds weren't really developed. Okay, it doesn't matter whether they were college kids or adults. He made a difference. He made an impact. That's the important part of Charlie. He made an impact. He was impacting lives in a very different way. That's why these liberal YouTubers and these YouTubers that are champagne socialists or they claim they're not on one side or the other are saying these bullshit lies about Charlie because they don't want to understand that Charlie, sure, we're talking to college students, but guess what? At the end of the day, he still made the difference. He still had conversations with them that mattered the most. He made people understand that it's okay to have conversations that you could either agree or disagree on. Well, but Trump, we need to stop having the agree or disagree conversation and we need to change and get rid of the orange man. Well, that's your opinion. Whether you don't or do like the orange man, he's your president. Just like Biden was my president. I didn't like Biden. I really didn't like him. I think he was the worst president. I think Obama was the worst president. I think he was terrible. There was nothing I could do. I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't change. I couldn't change what had happened. But they were still my president. Whether I liked Bush or I didn't like Bush, they were my president. All of the presidents I have, past and present, were my presidents. I can't change whether or not they are or are not my president. Neither can you. You have the right, yes, not to like them, but the thing is that you got to understand the thing about this is that when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, you can't just sit there on your YouTube channel and start calling MAGA or people racist or saying that they're fascists or Nazis because you don't like what they believe in. You can't do that. That's the part of your political agenda and part of your party that will start problems. That is when you will start losing your argument. Your argument already has been faltered and has been pretty much lost. You've lost your arguments. A lot of your arguments, a lot of these liberal YouTubers and these YouTubers that claim that they're not on any side, but they still talk shit about Trump, they've already lost a lot of their arguments. Their arguments already have been lost because they are out there calling us fascist Nazis. That is bad. That shows you right there how little to zero education they have when it comes to political knowledge. They don't look on their own behalf of factual information. They just look only in one direct vision. They're like tunnel visioned. They're not able to look all in different directions. They only look in one specific direction. It's like they have their blinders on. They only can see what's ahead of them, not around them. And they're stuck in that one specific direction. And it comes to that point in their life that they're going to always be that way because it's not going to help them. It's going to make them lose. They're going to lose. Like Paul Lance. Paul Lance, a lot of times I hear a lot of his arguments. He makes bad arguments, calling Trump fascist, using arguments like all of these arguments that I've just basically have debunked and said. He uses all of these arguments. This is all of his tactics he uses all of the time. This is what Paul Lance does. This is what Tennessee Brando does. This is what Texas Paul does. This is what they call us. These are what these kind of YouTubers do because they are blind. They are only looking in that one direction because they are YouTubers, because they may be limited purpose public figures, but they're not big enough to make a difference, but they feel like they are. But the only difference that they're making is they're just making themselves look bad. They're making themselves not look any better. They're not helping their party. They're not doing anything to help their cause or help do anything to make their party grow. They're holding their party and themselves back. They're holding their channel back. They're holding everything back. And they're holding that grudge because they don't like what's in front of them. And because of what's in front of them, they don't like, they won't grow up. They won't get out of it. And they will never get out of it. And that's why. That's why they will never get out of their one-way thought process. If they can get out of that one direct thought process, I think they can get better. I think there's a lot of growth that they can do. I think, like I said, I will disagree a lot of things with Tennessee Brando, Texas Paul Lance. I will disagree all day against them. I will disagree on a lot of their political arguments. I will never agree with anything on any of their arguments on politics, but their channel is just going to go dumped if they keep going this way, because their channel are going to literally crash as they keep doing this. Because what's going to happen is they're only doing one thing, and that's blame, blame, blame. They got to stop blaming. They have to politically look at it from a factual side. Factually, we really need to look at what's happening. Is it really the white people's problems? Is it really white privilege that is an issue here? Or is it really toxic masculinity? Is it really the white people owning pew-pews? Is it really the Christian nationalists? Is it really MAGA that are the issue? No, it's not. You know what it is? It's liberalism. It's the disease of media, social media, the liberal industrial complex, as Mark Dice would say. It's the coined phrase that we all know so well. It's what is being told by the media to them, and them spewing, spitting, and repeating and regurgitating back to others. Because they know no better. Because they are losing. They are hurting. Because they just want to continue to escalate. And this will escalate things to the point where people will see what they do. And people will see that these YouTubers like Texas Paul, Tennessee Brando, and Paul Lance are doing. They will see the truth. And especially Joy Reid, Don Lemonhead, they will see that people will see what they do and what they are doing, and they will start to come to the realization that these people are delusional, absolutely delusional, that their delusion is ludicrous. It's hypocrisy. It's absolutely preposterous. There is no way that anyone is going to believe their bullshit, because 99.9% of the bullshit that they spew is exactly the same shit that you can hear on most mainstream media, liberal industrial complex lies. That's it. That's where it comes from. That's where it stays. And that's where it should stay. But they won't let it. They aren't going to let it stay there. They aren't going to let it die out that way. They'd rather watch every single part of the conservative values allegedly, metaphorically burn. And I've heard them say it too. I've heard a lot of these people say, I'd rather watch this kind of stuff metaphorically burn. Why? Because you don't like what we believe in, you don't like who we are, you don't like Trump, so you would rather have democracy. This country was never founded on democracy, by the way. And that's another thing that they want to believe in, is that this country was founded on democracy. If you look, this country was never founded on democracy. They always use that as an excuse. They also think that our forefathers were racist. No. How was Abraham Lincoln racist when he was the one that freed the slaves? How was that racist? Prove to me that was racist. It's not. It's not racist. But you got these YouTubers out there like Joy Reid or Joy Blowhard Reeds or Joy Reeds, Don Lemonhead, Texas Paul, Tennessee Brando, and Paul Lance spewing the same liberal narrative. And they're saying that this whole world is, our America is so racist and our forefathers racist. No, they weren't. Come on. You know what the word racist means? Racist basically has run its course. That's like the boy who cried wolf. We've heard it 1,000 times. I'm tired of it. I'm getting tired of hearing the word racist, fascist, and Nazis. I'm tired of it. I think that word basically now has just no meaning to us anymore. You can call us that all you want right now, and we're not going to care anymore. We're just going to look at you and be like, yeah, that's kind of what you are. That's what you liberals are. That's what you Democrats have become. You have become exactly what you claim we are. No more, no less, with no value. And the coin toss of it all is, on the other end of the coin, you don't see the true side that the grass is greener where we are and what we have done and what we are doing for you and everyone. But you would rather sit there and destroy capitalism and destroy America, and you would rather sit there and badmouth everyone than help and continue to help us. You'd rather badmouth us. Okay, fine. Badmouth us all you want. But at that point, you know what? Don't come crying to us when shit hits the fan. We're not going to help you. We're not going to sit there and help you since you badmouthed us. And I'm sure you are not going to want us to help you. And that's fine. Because we're not going to help you. We're not going to do anything but watch you. Because we've tried to help you. We've tried to help everyone. And we are going to continue to do what we can. But we've only given so much. We can only take so much. At that point, it's almost like we're kind of basically in an abusive relationship. How much more abuse do you think we can take from you guys? From you liberals, you fence sitters, you pretenders out there wanting to pretend that you're not on one side or the other, but you shit talk Trump on YouTube or any social media. How much more abuse do you think us conservatives will take from you? Well, we've taken a lot of shit talk and a lot of mental abuse, a lot of lip service abuse from you all. But we're still going to do it. You know why? Because that's what we do. Because that's who we are. Because we are caring people. We care about you. Whether you don't care about us or not, we will care about you. We will care about the well-being of you, your family, and everyone in America. We won't stop. Because that is our job as American people, to care. To make sure America is doing what it needs to do to be on that right path. For the Republic, for which it stands. Not democracy, but for the republic. Not democracy. We're not a democracy. We never have and never will be. Fuck your democracy. You can take your democracy and shove it. Because we never and never will be a democracy state. If you want to go to a democracy state, go to China, go to Russia, go to all Timbuktu, go to all your other states and countries that are democracy states. If you don't like it here, I'll help you pack. But we're tired of you liberals and you yapping little chihuahuas. Yep, 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 yep. Whining about us. We're tired of it. We're tired of you people whining about us continuously and consecutively, whining about us, saying how horrible we are. When we haven't treated you like shit. Oh, well, you've talked a lot of shit about us on YouTube or on social media. Yeah, you know why? Because you talked a lot of shit about us. Payback's a bitch, isn't it? Kind of sucks when you don't like it. It's called free speech. Oh, but free speech only allegedly should be associated with us. Well, that's how you guys kind of want it. That's kind of a socialistic way of thinking, isn't it? That's how you guys want things to work. It only should evolve around you, but not everyone else, including us or me. That's not how America works, my friend. You don't get cake and ice cream. You don't get things one way and only one way only. It's got to work to where everybody gets cake and ice cream or gets one or the other. Or everyone has to follow the same rules. And it's applicable to everyone. You can't just have it to where it's only applicable to you and no one else. And all these YouTubers, like, again, Paul Lance, Tennessee Brando, Texas Paul, they think that these liberal rules and these democratic things only are applicable to them. No. That when they come up with these democratic ideas and these democratic policies, that it's not going to affect everyone. Yes, it will. It will affect everyone. Look at what Biden did. When the Biden administration tried to fuck us over, when the Biden administration fucked us over, how many people did it really fuck over? Every single one of us. When Biden tried to do the mask mandate, how many of us got fucked over? Every single one of us got fucked over. Every single one of us got fucked over. And many of us that didn't want to take the vax, including me, didn't like it. And I didn't take the vax, nor did I wear a mask, because I didn't want it. Because I'm not going to be complicit to stupid rules. Because guess what? That's not a government rule. That's not a rule that is in my constitutional rule that says I have to be complicit with an idiot, babbling, mumbling, bamboo moron. I'm not going to be listening to a babbling, fumbling baboon idiot of a president that takes naps during the midday and can't read a freaking teleprompter correctly while trying to screw our country and economically and actually screw our country. I'm not going to take advice from him. Thank you, but no thank you. Have a good day. You can just keep that to yourself. Go move along now. I am not going to be complicit. I would rather not be complicit with that. But all you YouTubers that want to sit here and say, well, that's not how it works, or that's not what we're trying to do. Yeah, that's exactly what you people are doing. That's all what you are doing. That's all what you YouTubers want us to do. You YouTubers want us conservatives to be complicit with you. You want us YouTubers that are conservative, and all conservatives, to comply with what you want. You want us to bow to socialism, and we're not going to. That's not going to happen, and that's not going to how it's going to work. You can think that's how you want it to work, but it won't be that way. Because I will tell you this to any YouTubers. That includes Paul Lance, that includes Tennessee Brando, that includes Texas Paul, that includes to any Joy Reeds, Don Lemonhead, to any, even mainstream media. We conservatives will not comply when it comes to democracy and socialism. And when it comes to destroying America, we will not comply. We will not comply to rhetoric, to any rhetoric. We will not comply to destroying America, nor will we comply to Sharia law, nor will we comply to taking away capitalism. We will not comply to making Black Lives Only matter. We will not comply to bending to the needs of white people having to acknowledge their privilege. We will not comply to none of that bullshit. You can take that bullshit and shove it right where the sun don't shine, sweet cheeks. Because guess what? Right here in America, that shit don't fly here. This is America. We have the right to believe in multiple different things. You can believe all of that you want. That's fine and dandy. But I don't have to. You don't have to shove that down my throat. I'm not going to shove my shit down your throat. But when it comes down to the bottom line of what America will be America. Bottom line. You will not change. You will not make it change. You will not create a change. America will stay the same. Period. You don't like it? Get the fuck out of here. You don't like that? Then too fucking bad. Kiss my ass. Because America has always been God, the people, and we the people, and about we the people, and about what it is about. The melting pot of every single person here. We do not care what you think about us. We have not ever really given a shit about what you think about us, MAGA. Yes, we hear you. We acknowledge that you don't like us. We acknowledge you don't really feel nice about us. We acknowledge we make you uncomfortable at night and we live in your head rent free. We get that. We understand that we make you very uncomfortable, and that's okay. We understand that. We're okay with making you feel uncomfortable, and that's what we wish for you to fix, is that uncomfortable feeling. We wish that you could fix that, but unfortunately, that will probably never ever happen because, yeah, God forbid, you could ever do something right for once. But yeah, we wish you could fix that, but again, God forbid, that will never happen. But I'm sorry, there's nothing you can do because that's who we are as a country. We're America. Oh, but what about the illegals? What, even though they've allegedly lived here for a long time, still, if they're illegal and they've been here illegally, they still need to go. But they lived here a long time though. I don't give a shit. If they've been here illegally for a long time, they need to go. Sorry. Hit the road, Jack. Pack your stuff. Bye-bye. Because guess what? We're not going to be harboring and allowing illegal immigrants to be living here. But they're Americans. No, they're not. That's the thing that you two libtards, liberals do not understand. They are not Americans. You want to claim that they're Americans, but they are not Americans. They've never been Americans. Just because they're in America does not make them Americans. You know what makes them American? Having legal documents, legal passports, and being here legally makes them legal. Well, but how can they be illegal when they're legal and they're taking back stolen land? Well, sadly, this land was never stolen. It was traded. and buy. If you did a little bit of research and history, and you maybe would put your phone down and get away from social media and stop believing every lie you hear from the liberal media industrial complex, maybe you might have a chance to not have your brain rot as much as it is. Because your brain's pretty rotten. It's like mashed potatoes. It's bad. It's mashed potatoes right now at this point. So your mashed potato for brains would not be more of a mush than it is already, but I'll try to help you comprehend this for you liberal fence sitters and pretend that you're not on one side or the other, pretend politic journalists or politic commentaries, whatever. This land was never stolen. We traded. We signed treaties. Oh, but allegedly the treaties were broken and, it was colonized and allegedly the white man allegedly raped and murdered and, did horrible multiple things and did this, that, and the other. Do you realize also that other cultures did the same thing to other cultures too? Please tell me you actually realize this. Well, white man did it more than any other culture. Oh, good God. Okay, so we're going back to race now. Okay, so if you're gonna play the race card, then obviously you're just really, really dumb. And at this point, I really don't have energy to even think of how to argue with a stupid person. But I'm gonna argue with you anyway because I know how to argue with you. So let me just say this. If you're going to argue with somebody that says, well, white man did more bad things than every other race, the argument you could say is, okay, fine. But when you want to make an argument like that, then you might want to make a better argument, like saying, how about we argue the fact that we could say that other races did the same thing too, just as bad as what you're trying to argue, or even worse, like allegedly rape, pillage, and colonize other cultures and other, if you really want to argue with me on that one, let's be a little bit better with the argument here. Well, but conservative, we can't argue that because, well, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so you're still going to hold on true to your argument here, right? Fine, let's hold true to your argument here. If you want to hold on true to your argument, then fine. But just remember one thing, though. If you haven't looked into history, you would realize that Native Americans, the Latinos, other cultures were doing the same thing. They enslaved, they killed, they raped, they murdered, they essayed, they did everything. The same thing, just as bad or worse as what allegedly you want to claim that the white people did. So, again, you got to look into history. Well, history can always be whitewashed. Oh, good God. Oh, boy. And then there you go. Oh, boy. And then there you go. So then you're going to do the whitewash thing. Okay. Right. So how do you want to really go for that one? So if you want to claim that history was allegedly whitewashed, then I'll argue with you on this one. How is it allegedly whitewashed? Oh, white people changed it only to make it look better for the white people. No, actually, they didn't. Because if you look in the history of Sacagawea and the whole entire life of Sacagawea and the whole thing that happened with not just that, but everything else. There was history that was told that wasn't whitewashed about her life. That was actually told as truth about her. That was told about her. That was directly told about her. But wait a minute. But isn't it funny because isn't it still kind of allegedly whitewashed though? No. I mean, if you want to claim whitewash, what is your definition of whitewash? Well, it's only benefiting white people, and it's to make white people look good, and you know, it's blah 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 blah. No, probably what you probably don't know is what really happened to Sacagawea, and you probably don't really know what happened most majority of her life and what she went through, and some of the ups and downs in her life. Not while just on the journey with what she went through, but what also the whole entire journey of her life. And yeah, you want to call maybe some of the stuff that allegedly was journalized by her whitewashed? Well, but some of that could also be rewritten by a white person. Did you realize that there is actually a museum, supposedly, that actually holds a lot of her journals and has a lot of her stuff in it, right? That actually shows, and online also, that holds a lot of her stuff and holds a lot of the things she says and a lot of her journey, and talks a lot about her true journey and what she has gone through and what happened to her. And it kind of discusses a lot about that, and it doesn't really whitewash it. It actually just promotes a lot of what has, not really promotes, but emphasizes on what had happened to her, including like what allegedly happened to Pocahontas, how the real Pocahontas allegedly got raped, which is not good. Oh yeah, white man, right? Which supposedly wasn't a white man that did it. It was one of her people, allegedly, that did it, by the way. Or how about the real Mulan? Shall we go into that one? How Mulan cut her hair. The real Mulan, which, by the way, was a supposed, I don't know, I think it was a true base story. Mulan was a about a Asian woman that during the time that China was going to go to war or something, and she cut her hair to look like a guy, and she went in and trained like the rest of the guys, and then when they found out that she was a guy, stuff happened to her, and they allegedly raped her. And guess who raped her? It wasn't a bunch of white guys. It was a bunch of the Asian guys. They were all Asian that raped her. The Asian people, all the Asian guys that raped her. Oh, but that was not whitewashed. Oh, that's allegedly whitewashed, right? Okay. Okay, calm down, liberal. Calm down, calm down. Let's settle down here. Because, yeah, sure, the Disney movie Mulan kind of glorified it in a better way, where it didn't show what really happened and didn't prove anything from the book or whatever. But yeah, that's not really whitewash, right? See, You got to remember, folks, what the truth is things don't really always get whitewashed. Shit like that is not always kind of considered whitewashing. It's we're going with history here. Remember, sometimes if you look into history, you can find not everything's going to be about the white man, and the white man's not always going to be the one that you want to blame. But this is what happens when it comes to liberals. Liberals love to blame people the most because liberals always love to use the bark. They never bite. They always bark, like yapping little chihuahuas. They don't know any better. They always want to go to the first thing they know is bark, 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 and that's it. They are steady with it, and that's all they do. So when it comes to things like that, it's easy to see past their lies. It's easy to see that when they want to allege or claim that things are whitewashed, it annoys them when you can disprove that there are certain things that are not whitewashed, or there are not certain things that they want to claim, that they want to allege, that they like to claim or allege, that you can so much disprove. They hate it, and they will still try to continue to argue that proof beyond the shadow of the reasonable doubt, because they think they're so smart, but they're not. And so what had happened with all of these people that just do all of this stuff is they get all of these little fantasy fairy tale things in their head on how everything just is about all these poor other people. All these poor other people are so deprived and depressed and oppressed, and we're not hearing their true story. Well, you know that the story of Harry Tubman actually was being told the true way. The story of Rosa Parks being arrested actually was told the true way. The story of Martin Luther King was being told the true way. The true story of how a lot of the black Confederates towards the war, during the war, actually fighting in the war with the Confederates, are being told in the truthful way, but they're all ignoring it. There you go. So they ignore history. They don't know how to really tell history in the truest way and form. They like to twist history out of context and ignore certain parts and pieces and bits and pieces because they don't like being honest. They're disingenuous. They don't know how to be genuine. And that's what a lot of, I think, is their issue. And again, they always want to back the claim with whitewash. Whitewash. Yeah, no. That's just stupid. That's ignorant. That's pure ignorance. Because that's a form of ignorance right there. Is that your claim that you want to back is not really factual. You have no evidence. You can't back that claim. You can't say that that claim is true. You're only using whitewash because you're trying to be the savior to a community that's not really oppressed, that really doesn't need white people to save them. You don't need to help the community when this community really has never asked any of the white community to help them in the first place. And when the community that allegedly really has never asked the white community to help them, and the community that is mostly claiming Black Lives Matter really kind of doesn't like the white community in the first place either, also doesn't want the white man to help them because they allegedly hate the white man or hate the white people. They're kind of a little racist towards certain demographics, if you know where I'm going with that one. they kind of act a little racist. So there you go. And the 50-40 or the 50-60 kind of proves again the point that they don't know math, they don't know history, they don't know much. They only do like a very small, acute amount of research. And that's where they think, I can do it. I got you moment. No, 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 no. See, that's why Charlie was so smart because he never let a lot of people do the aha gotcha moment. They never allowed anyone to do the aha gotcha moment to Charlie because Charlie was so smart. Because Charlie knew when he had an argument, he could prove points. He had a lot of proof and statistics to back his arguments up with claims and able to back the claims up with knowledge. And most of the time when he would ask, where do you get your statistic from? Majority of these people wouldn't be able to prove it. They couldn't do it. Worth it. Damn. They couldn't do it. They were scared to. They would just, like that, drop out of it. They run. And most of the majority of these YouTubers that are claiming that they're either liberal or neither on one side or the other, they always claim that they don't want to argue against us. This is another thing I've noticed why they don't do it. They don't want to try to debate us because they claim they're not afraid of us. They are afraid of us. They are afraid of people like me. Because people like me who know how to do research. I have been a freelance journalist for 5 years now. I've been on 24, 25 platforms, as you all know. I have done multiple research. I have done my years of doing this. I know how to debate. I've been in multiple debates, right? So I know how to prove points without arguing or getting mad or yelling or screaming or calling names. They can't do that. That's all they know how to do. But they don't want to debate because they know that, for one, they say, well, I don't want to debate them because there's no point in debating. Well, yeah, you know why? That's a cop-out. That's one of many ways to say you're copping out on me. They cop out because they know they will lose. They know they will lose the debate because they will know instantly when I hit them or when you hit them with facts or statistics and you get them pinned with facts or statistics or you bring up some data that will definitely disprove anything that they want to say to you, they will probably start instantly unhinging on you. They will start crashing like that. And that's when you know you're going to win. And they know that they will crash. That's an instant knowledge that they already in their mind have preset themselves to they're going to crash. And they know that they're going to crash. And they know what's going to happen. And they know that they don't want to. And they already know that you're going to beat them at their own game. They know basically that you're playing chess, they're playing checkers. You have won. But they want to try to play a different game with you instead of winning not winning in a debate or being civil and trying to figure out how to compromise and have a civil conversation and figuring out how to find knowledge on common ground with each other. They just want to play mindfuck games with you. Why? Because that's how vindictive they can be. Hey, Leafy, what's up, buddy? I see you. I see you, Leafy. That's how vindictive they are. They already know. They already have that pre-notion that not only they're going to lose in a debate, they already know that they're going to crash out, but they already know that if they can't beat you in a debate and try to have a civil conversation, because one, they don't want to. That's the other point too, is because they really don't want to have a civil debate with you. They'd rather be very uncivil with you. And they're never going to be civil with you. And two, because they just want to try to mind fuck with you. And that's what they've been taught by, again, the liberal media, is how to try to play mind games. And they're not good at it. They're bad at it. They think, oh, well, I know how to play it. No, you don't. You don't. You don't know how to do it, because obviously there's been people out here who actually know how to do it way better than you do. And there are people who actually been in the media and have media training way more longer than you have, that actually know what you're trying to go for. You're still playing checkers, and we're over here playing chess. Stop it. Stop trying to play on our level. Stay in your lane over there, kiddo. We're not gonna let you be playing in the big boy box, because you are not old enough to be playing in the big boy box over here. You're okay to play in the kitty box, but over here in the big boy box, no. Stay in the kitty box, not the big boy box. And they still want to try to sneak over and go into the big boy box. And every time we tell them, no, you're not old enough to be in the big boy box. Or no, you can't be in the big boy box, because every time you try to go in the big boy box, you ruin things. Or something's going to go wrong, or anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And we know it happens every time, 99.9% of the time, or 1,000% of the time. It does, and it will. Or we try to tell you, will you play, or ask you, will you play nice? And you come, you say, yeah, we'll play nice. And then you don't. And then we kick you out of the big boy box. And we put you back in the little kitty box. You get mad and pissy and have a huffy puff fit. And then you come back over. And we won't ever let you back in the big boy box ever again. That's why we know you won't do it. So you got to stay over here. Stay over on your side. And that's why we keep telling you, if you guys want to debate us, then fine. Come over here, have a conversation, be nice and be civil with us, like what, Charlie did with a lot of the people that disagreed with him. That's fine. We can do it. But if you're going to start throwing temper tantrums and start crashing, then no, we can't do that. And if you guys are going to start trying to play mind games and start doing things that you know you shouldn't be doing, then no, we're not going to do that with you. And we know exactly why you're doing it, because you're mad. You're 99.9% of the time mad at us, because we know what you're doing. We already have figured you out before you even do it. We're like 20 steps ahead of you people. You don't realize it by this time. You guys have just lost it. You guys are literally deranged. This is derangement. This is just pure stupidity. When will you people learn? When will you liberals learn? When will you liberals and fake political commentary YouTuber content creators learn? We already realize that you are not going to play nice with us. You never intend to play nice with us. So stop trying to act like you want to play nice with us. Or don't even mention that you want to play nice with us. We already know that you're not. And even if you are already claiming you're not going to play nice with us, then why do you mention us? Do we really live in your head that much? Do we really annoy you that much? Or are you really that much in love with us? You must really be that much in love with Trump that or with us MAGA supporters, that you really have to think about us 24/7. Like, damn, you drool over us and Trump every freaking day. I don't know why, but it's like your mouth waters over us. Like watching a kid drool over tater tots. It is just weird. Almost to the point it's like you guys get a hard on mentioning Trump and us. And you can't go a day without thinking about us. Oh, what are they doing over here? It's almost like you're kind of a Karen or a nosy Rosie. You can't think about what is your party doing. Instead of you got to think about what our party's doing, when you should be more concerned and content with what is the Democrat Party doing, or if you are a Democrat or you do support a little more of the Democratic Party, you should be more content with trying to figure out what they're doing and why they're not doing certain things and what the Republicans are trying to do to help instead of just finding ways to be nosy and blame us for everything. Oh, what little ways can we find to blame Trump and the MAGA supporters? Oh, this is gonna make my dick so hard. That's like what you weirdies do. Oh, Jesus Christ. You guys are fucking weird. It's, ew. Ew. Stop it. Ew, just stop it. You Democrats just need to stop it. Really, just stop it. Leafy, stop it. I'm gonna delete that comment, dude. That's just nasty. That's just weird. That's just what you Democrats do. It's so weird how you Democrats think that way. And how you content creators that are fence sitters are doing that every day. And there's nothing better you people can do. But that's all you do. You're content with it. If that's how you feel content, then all right. I guess if we give you that biggest hard on for whatever weird reason that you enjoy getting, you know, popping off on us because I guess you like Trump because of your hate for Trump and your hate for us just really make you have your socks knocked off, then by all means, in a weird way, you whatever. Leafy, I'm not gonna allow some weird shit on here, dude. I love you, bro, no homo, but no weird shit in here, please. This is a professional chat, please, and thank you. I love you, bro, no homo. I really do, but yeah, professionalism here, please. A little, please, in this life. Thank you, Leafy. I do love you, bro. No homo. Like I said, I love you as a bro, but yeah, not that way, dude. You nasty freak. I'm kind of starting to think Leafy might turn be a liberal. Leafy, are you turning into a liberal? Please tell me you're not going liberal on me, Leafy. Please. I'm going to be very scared, Leafy. That just worries me. But anyway, guys, I do have to go and get some more dip. I am going to do a dip review tonight, I think. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. I'm planning on maybe doing a dip review at some point. But so for all you weirdy libtard freaks out there, just keep getting a hard on for us. It just makes us feel good, I guess. Whatever. Love you guys. Bye, guys.